Today marks 108 years since Australian and New Zealand soldiers landed in Turkey during World War I as part of the Allied expedition that set out to capture the Gallipoli Peninsula. Over 8,000 lives were lost during the battle. They became known as the Anzacs. Their landing site, now called Anzac Cove, is a special place of remembrance. This year, around 1,500 Australians are attending the service, the biggest crowd since the centenary in 2015. Quite a turnaround since the pandemic. Many older people have taken the opportunity to attend the Anzac Cove service this year. Previously, it was visited by younger people. In the past few days, we've heard stories from the Australians travelling to Gallipoli. Our reporter Nick McCallum has spoken with many, including Cheryl Murphy, who honoured a promise to her late husband Lee, spreading his ashes at Anzac Cove. Others are there representing their families, descendants of those killed in battle. We'll take you now live to Gallipoli for the Anzac Day dawn service.
Good morning. At this time, 108 years ago, approximately 80,000 soldiers were crowded aboard ships of an invasion fleet, ready to undertake the largest amphibious landing in military history at that time. They were men from the combined British and French armies and the many nations within their vast empires. Among them were the men of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, soon to be known simply as the Anzacs. They did not know and could not know the lasting effect that unfolding events would have on our respective nations, although some imagined it, as one soldier wrote in his diary prior to the landing. We know many of us will fall, but hope to write a page in history for Australia before we finish. As dawn approached, the Allied forces eased their way forwards towards the Gallipoli Peninsula. Even before they reached the beach, in the half-light, the small garrison of Turkish forces began firing at the boats, killing some and wounding others. As the boats grounded the tip of Ari Banu, most of the men struggled ashore, soaking wet and weighed down by their rifles and sodden packs. Some were not so fortunate, drowning in the deep water. Soon after, hundreds more were ashore, hard on the ascent to capture their objectives. It was no easy climb. Pinned by steady fire from Turkish defenders, the Anzacs dug their bayonets into the earth to keep from falling, as the killed and wounded slid back down the slope around them. Some groups managed to make their way up to the top of the slopes. However, they were repeatedly beaten back by ever-strengthening Turkish counterattacks. Early the next morning, General Sir Ian Hamilton exhorted to the despairing Anzac commanders to dig, dig, dig until you are safe. The troops had already begun doing so of their own volition. Unable to break out, they were steadfast in their resolution to hold their positions. What was planned as a rapid advance across the peninsula instead became trench warfare, with intense close-quarter fighting scattered across the many small footholds held by both sides. What followed was 8 months of bitter fighting, which saw many acts of courage, devotion to duty and resolve. Those who fought here 108 years ago never forgot what happened here, as we too make a promise to never forget. The events of the 25th of April 1915 and the subsequent campaign have been cemented in the identity of Australia and New Zealand. The Anzacs truly had written a page of history. Today, we honour and remember the fallen. Their loss was a personal tragedy that cast a long shadow over grieving families and our nations for decades. We acknowledge their service and sacrifice as we acknowledge all of those who have served in the decades since.
The next wreaths will be laid on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, and the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland by Councillor Syed Atif Raza, Her Excellency Hasanti Urugodwati Disanyaki, and Her Excellency Jill Morris.
Out!
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthems of Turkey, New Zealand and Australia.
One and free, we've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia.